Hey everybody, what is going on? This is Firefish Backhouse here to bring you my One Piece Chapter 8/18 review. Now, I wrote down some notes for it because it was a pretty big, huge chapter. We had a lot of information in bunches, and you know, it was actually a short chapter, but it gave us a lot of information about the story, and it filled us in on a lot of stuff that we found out about last chapter, you know, with Momonosuke's father and everything. Just let me take a drink. And then I will start this review. Now, I wrote down some notes from the chapter here on paper, and it's actually 2 full pages. You know, because I kind of wanted to get in depth in this review, just because there was a lot of stuff. So, you know, obviously, you know, the chapter starts with Luffy, Chopper, and Usopp still all in awe and everything of Raizo, the ninja, their new god. You know, Luffy has the sparkling eyes and everything. You know, Kinemon, Kanjuro, and Raizo are crying and everything because obviously, you know, the city is nothing like the last time they were even on Zou. They said that when they first came there, the city was nothing like this. The city and the river was so beautiful, streets were full of people, country was alive. What have Lynx done? I'll fix everything, I swear I will. You know, they're crying, and then Cat Viper, Nekomamushi comes and says, you know what, Robin's almost done translating. You know, and then they go inside. Robin gives what she translated to Nami, asks her, you know, how does it look? And Nami's like, well, this is a map. And then we get the explanation from Cat Viper. The forest of Whale is holy because of this, and we are here to protect it. Dogstorm then says, the name of the red stone is the Road Poneglyph. It's a guide to the end of the Grand Line, the place were desired by most notorious pirates. Robin is like, I can't believe it. It actually leads to the great island of Raftel. You know, and then, you know, Luffy and the crew get all excited and everything, and you got Zoro and Law still looking all serious-faced and everything. And then Dogstorm continues. You know, in the worlds, there's 4 of the Road Poneglyphs. You know, they're written down. There's a location written down on the stones, but that is not Raftel. The other 3 stone also reveals a different locations. If you find all these 4 and link them together on a map, the center will rise. That is the most desired island, the legendary Raftel. So obviously you got to get the 4 locations, you know, line it up on a map, and in the middle of that map, obviously, you know, Raftel will raise. Obviously, there's got to be a way that they can raise it. And you know, when we were going through this, I thought maybe that's the ancient kingdom. Maybe it actually wasn't destroyed, but it sunk. And it has something to do with the Will of D, maybe? I don't know, we'll obviously find out everything, you know, and then, then Cat Viper starts talking again. Now, among the 4 Road Poneglyphs, only one of them is lost. So one they can't find. You know, one is on Zou for them to protect. And 2 of them are owned by Big Mom and Kaido the Yonko. And everybody goes, you know, like, you know, each of them holds them. And Luffy just says, well, you know what, we're going to go and take them. We're going to kick their asses anyway. And Cat Viper says, you know, you don't actually have to steal the Poneglyph. You can make a Goyu Taku copy, which is basically, I'd see it as, you know, maybe kind of like the same way, you know, they make Braille, kind of, or like, you know, the way that you can put like an object that has, you know, like Braille or like a hard outline, and like you can shade over it, and you know, you have a special stone and this, you know, thing goes over it, and they just shade it in, and then, you know, as you're shading, obviously the letters are indented, so as long as it's flat, airtight and everything, you shade over it, the outlines of the letter will appear, and then you can just roll it up, you know, put it in your bag or put it in a tube, protect it, and you got the poneglyph, and, you know, you can get them all together. And then, you know, you know, and he says there's no idiot that would actually steal them, and Luffy's all like he wants to fucking steal these things, like, you know. And then Cat Viper says, you know, thing he's actually worried about is of Nico Robin. As someone who's interested in the blank of our century, people are collecting the copies, but none can translate what it means. If they desire to read this, the invincible pirates will come after you. You know, Luffy and the others are like, take Robin, and Robin's like, well, you know, that doesn't matter. I have some pretty invincible friends to protect me. And, you know, everybody's all, oh, shucks, 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 you know, Chopper's all blah, blah, blah. You know, Nami's all like, if they come, you know, I'll not only destroy them, but I'll take all their treasure. And, you know, Brooks all serious, pulling out his sword, and, you know, Frankie does his serious face and whatever, and then, you know, Cat Viper goes on asking, well, do you guys actually know about it? He turns to Dogstorm, who's in Urashi, and says, can I tell them? And then Momonosuke's like, you can tell them, I trust these people, go ahead and tell them. You know, and then you got more of Luffy being like, oh, you're being all noble and all this other stuff and blah, blah, blah. You know, and then Cat Viper, you know, this is actually the first time we actually get, you know, information, you know, back to back with the poneglyphs. You know, we found out that there's two different kinds of poneglyphs. You know, the red and the blue-black ones, or whatever they are. You know, so the blue and black ones, you know, they state the history of the Void Century, you know, histories of, you know, certain countries like Alabasta and all this, and also, you know, in those, you know, it will say where to find, you know, ancient weapons, you know. But, you know, you have basically, I'd say, 4 kinds of poneglyphs now. You have the road poneglyphs, you have, you know, Void Century poneglyphs, you know, with information about the Void Century. You've got poneglyphs that tell the history of some lands, like in Alabasta, you know, but they also show location of, you know, the weapon, or they mention the weapon. And then there's ones that just strictly have the location and where to find them. So, you know, we're learning more and more about the poneglyphs, and we learn here that the Kozuki clan of Wano Kuni has been a well-known master stonemason. Now he holds the most delicate technique in the field. Everyone asks what a stonemason was, and then Cat Viper says yes. 800 years ago, the Kozuki clan has invented an unbreakable stone to write down the most valuable sentence around the world, and that is the poneglyph. And then Robin is like, the Kozuki clan are the people that invented the whole poneglyph. Luffy then asked Momonosuke, you know, hey, are you the one that made the stones that Robin's looking for? And he's like, no, it was my ancestors, not me. You know, and then Luffy turns to Kanjuro, Kinemon, and Raizo and asks them, you know, if they know what it says. They reply, first Kanjuro, that was not told to our generation. Kinemon, if you can read that stone, you'll know the true meaning. Raizo, the way to translate and write ancient characters was transcended, but unfortunately legacy ended at our Lord Odin's generation before passing by Momonosuke-sama. So the teachings of writing and reading the ancient language was passed down generation to generation when it was time for them to learn it. Now, obviously, Odin was not able to teach Momonosuke this, but obviously Momonosuke can still make the poneglyphs and everything. And what I believe might happen is that, you know, maybe Robin, you know, will write down information on how to learn to read these letters, you know, what they mean and everything, to teach Momonosuke everything that, you know, his father knew and everything, you know. But yeah, anyway, then Brooke's like, wait, so you mean Momonosuke's father? And Kinemon says, yes. You know, our Lord Odin was executed by the Wano Kuni Shogun and Pirate Kaido of the Beast. Luffy and Law both say Kaido basically at the same time, I would think. You know, and everybody looks... everybody looks shocked except Zono. You know, and then Kinemon states that Kaido, the Beast Pirates, are on Wano, so therefore, you know, they obviously have a deal with the Wano Kuni Shogun and everything, and, you know, they're basically protected, you know, in Wano, or own or control Wano. And then Zoro's like, hey, you know, you don't need to answer this if you don't want to, but why was he executed, and why are Kaido's men looking for you? And the biggest thing I would say, the biggest drop is, one, we learned that Lord Odin and not Nico Olivia were the reason why Goldie Roger was able to write that message on Sky Island on the Poneglyph, and he was likely the reason why they were able to find the Poneglyphs, because obviously you have to think, you know, if his ancestors were the one that created it and everything, you know, obviously, you know, let's say, you know, you live to, what is it, like 140, so you go 140, and then another 140 would be 280 years, you know, and then another 140, let's see, that would be 320, you know, 420 years, and then another 140 would be, you know, 560 years, another 140 would be 700 years. So Odin was the 6th or the 7th generation, so that means Momonosuke is either the 7th or the 8th generation, and that means through 6 or 7 generations, this secret, this family secret, and this talent was passed down from generation to generation, which means that the Shogun of Wano Kuni must have learned about this, and, you know, maybe he was in cahoots with Kaido, you know, maybe, you know, we don't know, if the other temples or anything like that where the other road poneglyphs were stored, you know, had this symbol on it, and, you know, maybe that's how Kaido knew, ooh, you know, something, you know, about this, and blah blah, and then, you know, through his network of information, he found out that that crest belonged to the Kozuki clan on Wano, and, you know, he called his, you know, Wano connection, or whoever, you know, his information is in Wano, and let's say it was the Shogun, and, you know, they found this out, you know, and, you know, they went to Lord Odin, and they figured it all out and executed him, because he wouldn't tell them what the tablet said that Kaido had, and wouldn't tell him how to get to Raftel. But another thing I was thinking, maybe that poneglyph that Jinbei found, in his little cover story, is the lost poneglyph, is the lost road poneglyph. Because I haven't really gone back, and put like 2 chapters up of like when, say, they found the poneglyph on Sky Island and this poneglyph, because I can't remember, but I kind of do remember, and I do think that the last time they found a poneglyph, was, inscribed, with Goldie Rogers, thing on it, was on Sky Island, and there was no mention about it, but I do know that Robin found the poneglyph, that was on Fishman Island. That was basically the apology letter from Joy Boy. Joy Boy. Yeah, so basically, maybe that's, another lost poneglyph, and, and Jinbei will bring it to Robin, and when they're done at Big Mom's, they'll have part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4 of the road poneglyph. And maybe Kaido, they go to Kaido and they get the last of it, and, maybe you have to go to all 4 locations, and there is a certain way to activate it to make Raftel rise, because it did say that if you were to find all 4 locations and link them together in the center of it, like an X, X marks the spot, treasure, in the middle of the X, the Raftel will rise, and, yeah, that's basically everything for this review. The major points where we found out what the red poneglyph was, it's the road poneglyph, and there's 4 of them in the world. 1 of them is missing, 1 of them's on Zou, and 1 is owned by Kaido and Big Mom. We found out how Kaido knew Raizo was on Zou or heading to Zou in the first place, and that's because Kaido and the Beast Pirates are on Wano, and they were the ones who executed Lord Odin Kozuki, who's Momonosuke's father, and that is why Momonosuke is the Lord, even though he's only 7 or 8 years old. He's obviously has to have an advisor. It's probably in whatever the Wano Kuni, tradition is, that, he will be the Lord of, he's the Lord, but every Lord must have maybe a shogun, like a right-hand man. Maybe that's what the shogun is in this. And if he were to ever pass away, the shogun would be the one who is in charge of Wano Kuni until the son of Lord Odin turns the proper age, say it's 18, like in most places and kingdoms in our world, where, the prince is the prince, and, if the king were to die, if the prince is not old enough to take the throne, that the successor, other than, the next closest in line, for the throne, would take over the throne until they are of age, I believe. I'm not really sure about all those politics and everything. Another thing we learned was that the Kozuki family were the ones that invented the poneglyphs, and they are master stonemasons. So I would say they're basically like blacksmiths, where instead of making metals, they make limestone and Sea Prism Stone and all this other thing, you know. Maybe that's how the world government has those Sea Prism nets and the Sea Prism bullets and all this other stuff, because they figured out, hey, you know, devil fruit users are weak in sea. Maybe we're able to collect minerals from the water and, you know, make a stone out of water, you know, a special stone out of water or something like that. And then, you know, the teachings of how to read and draw the ancient letters on the Poneglyphs stopped at Lord Odin's generation. So basically, I would see it as, you know, maybe that family were the only ones who can read and write it, and maybe only a few people, you know, higher ups and everything, you know, with the Lord were able to write it, you know. Kinemon, Kanjuro, and Raizo, maybe they were Lord Odin's bodyguards, because they did say, you know, in this chapter that Lord Odin gave his life, he sacrificed his life so they could live, you know. So obviously, if they were his 3 closest people, his 3 closest advisors, maybe, you know, obviously all this had to have happened 25 years ago. So maybe if we find out how old he was when he died, maybe because his father was still around at that time, you know, he was free, and, you know, and Goldie Roger went to Wano Kuni after he went to Zou, and, you know, maybe that's how he met the guy who could write everything, because it was his family that wrote it, and he went there to go meet him and said, hey, I can hear the voices of all things. I heard the voice of your ancestor, blah blah, Kozuki, whatever. I heard his soul written into this poneglyph. You know, will you join me on my journey, or something like that. You know, and, you know, yeah, you know, I do think Kinemon, Kanjuro, and Raizo will know something about the Void Sentry. You know, with all this new Poneglyph and the Void Sentry thing, you know, I could see, you know, if, you know, what Oda said is true, or his producer said is true, that the story is about 70% done, yeah, I could see it be 70% done, because one, they just found the road Poneglyph, you know, the very first one of its kind, found out there's 4 of them, and that Big Mom and Kaido, you know, have them. Number 2, Luffy has already challenged Big Mom to a fight, saying he'll kick his ass, and he's also made an alliance with Law to take down Kaido. So Luffy's successful in both of those. There's 3 of the 4 road Poneglyphs. Now, they said the 4th one was lost. What I'm thinking is the whole reason to tie everything together with the whole Jinbe cover story thing is, I believe, at Whole Cake Island, or on his way to Whole Cake Island, or right when they left, you know, Jinbe will find out what happened at Dressrosa. He'll go to Dressrosa with Wadosumi and asks, you know, King Riku and all that, you know, where is Straw Hat Luffy, you know, all this. And he's gonna say, well, he went to Zou. You know, he told us that was their next place they were gonna go. You know, because I think that if Jinbe does not, you know, go to Dressrosa, you know, when he finds out the news about everything, you know, I feel like he'll probably just meet Luffy at Big Mom's wedding, because more than likely Jinbe said he had business, with Big Mom, when they left Fishman Island, and that was likely because he got an invitation to the wedding, and when he gets there and everything, and he sees Sanji and everything that happened, he'll probably either, that's even better, he's there, he's at the wedding, blah blah, he's there, and he's at the tea party, and then he finds out, it's into a wedding, and then he finds out about Sanji and everything, and, maybe, he plans to protect Sanji, and Sanji will fill him in on what happened and everything, but obviously, Jinbe will probably know that Doflamingo got beat by Luffy and everything, because, Big Mom will know it. And if he's with Big Mom, he has that he has that road poneglyph, and now I'm thinking about it more and more. I think Robin should be one of the people to go with Luffy to Whole Cake Island. One, because she has the ability, so she has the mono ability, the hand fruit, whatever, so she can, instead of doing what she did on Thriller Bark, with just the ear, she can make it so just her eyes pop up on the wall, and that's how they can sneak into it, and, along with Peckham's and everything, Peckham's could say, you know what, I'm not going to be, a traitor, but to pay you back for the favor, I will at least bring you to Whole Cake Island. I will not help you or anything on Whole Cake Island. I will not help you escape. To pay back the debt I owe you, I will just bring you to Whole Cake Island, and, and then maybe on the journey and everything there, Peckham's and everything gets all, close and everything. And, another thing I'm thinking about is, now with all of this, Kinemon was crying, everybody was crying, Luffy said, don't bring up your sorrow memories, like, it's okay, you don't need to tell us. And then he told him about everything about Kaido and everything, and they're down on their knees. And, I see this as either an opportunity for Kinemon, to maybe join the crew full time, or, when they're done everything with Kaido and everything on Wano, Kinemon was there. Yeah, Kinemon was there when the Grand Fleet started and everything, and I think it's, was it 6 or 7? I'm not sure how many people, crews joined, but, Wano and that, maybe they start a ship, and they join the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. But anyway, that's my review, and, a little bit of a theory / speculation added on at the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it, please like and comment why you liked it down below. If you didn't like it, please, dislike it and tell me why you disliked it down below. And subscribe if you want to see any of my other videos. Currently, I am working on a theory involving Monkey D. Dragon and Gold D. Roger. They kind of go together, and it's just something I've been spitballing and thinking about. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, as always, no matter what you do today, I hope you enjoy it and have a good time. And until next time, I will see you later, and this is Firefist Backo signing out. Bye-bye!